It's Sunday, as Breaking has happily titled the show at the top left, if you can't see, or top right for you guys, maybe. Oh, no, I guess it is top left. It's Sunday.
It is Sunday. Yes.
How's everybody doing? How are you doing?
Doing all right for a Sunday, I suppose. It's the we made it through April. We're already burnt a third of the year already. Holy crap.
Right. It's flying by. Come on, good weather. Come
Yeah.
on, good weather.
I could
Clear
probably
stuff.
do without getting 2.5 inches of rain at a time, but aside from that, it just makes the grass grow, which means you gotta mow and all the typical stuff of springtime.
Exactly. Well, listen, I know it sucks for some of you guys, but my dad is a happy camper. I mean, that dude has loaded up his freaking lawnmowers more than anybody you could imagine this early in the season. He's mowing everybody's yard. Like, he's
Yeah.
happy. If he ain't mowing a yard, he's outside working on a lawnmower. You know what I mean? So,
Mm,
and whatever keeps him busy, I'm excited. I'm happy for that. But how's everybody out there doing? Do you want to go through the string and YouTube and G Live and Torrent
of
and
course.
Foxhole and Twitch?
Just to let everybody know, we are over on Twitch. We got a couple of you sitting over there today. Good to have you aboard. We are over on WedSickyTube. We got about 100 or so sitting over yonder. Periscope, well, wherever you find us, I don't know, showing a big goose egg there. D Live, we got about 70 over there. We are over on the Foxhole app this afternoon as well. And lest we forget, should something happen, we are over on Trovo Live. So get signed up over there too.
Okay, I've gotta start off this show with the big banger. Okay, and the funny thing is that YouTube changed its terms and condition, and they say now it, like, I think if you're like, what is it, 40 seconds into your video or a minute, something like that, and they're not coming down as hard on cuss words because I think that they've been hit back with so much of their hypocrisy because a lot of their big streamers are gamers. And those people cuss like sailors. Like, one of the games that are trending now with some of the biggest YouTube gamers, which, yes, I do watch everything, guys, is they're playing this drawing show, and they're drawing some of the most obscene pictures with genitalia and the words they're using, and they're putting this on the trending page of YouTube. Okay, so let's just start off with that. But what I'm going to share right now is, like, I feel like a little bit of encouragement because I don't know how many people of you guys out there are UFC guys and knows that there was a fight last night. But apparently, the Las Vegas Review Journal decided to write an article, and Dana White, who's like basically the CEO of the UFC, he's been the main guy for a long time, did not appreciate it. So I'm going to share that with you guys. We need more of this. We talk about that all the time. So this will make you happy. I think this will bring some joy on you Sunday because he went off. I'm going to go over the article just a tad bit. But it says Dana White tears the media to shreds after the UFC 261. And it says Dana White sounded off on the media following the success of the fight, from last night. It says prior to the Saturday night fights, White ripped the Las Vegas, I guess it was earlier Saturday, ripped the Las Vegas Review Journal for writing for people that they were willing to risk death to attend the event in Florida. After the insanely entertaining and successful fights, White wasn't done just yet. So they decided to write in the Las Vegas Review. Look, Dana White has 6.2 million followers. Here's a little bit of the article, and you can see it says here at least 15,000 people were willing to risk permanent damage or death to attend a live sporting event. That's according to the language and the disclaimer for those attending the one in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Vegas writing about Florida. Dana White's from Vegas. He hosts most of his events there. This was his comeback on here. Hey, Las Vegas, this is our piece of shit local paper. Through this entire pandemic, we didn't lay off a single employee. We work with governmental agencies in Nevada and around the world to put on every event safely. And we chose to bring our biggest fight of the year with Conor McGregor back to town July 10th to help relaunch the city. Yeah, this is how the Las Vegas Review Journal shows its support for a true local business. Go F yourself, LVRJ, and don't bother coming to the fight in July. Okay, that's not it. He was interviewed. I'm just going to play it. This is what he had to say.
There'll probably be some negative shit. Who knows? You know what I mean? I went in on the Review Journal today. I went in on the Review Journal, and let me say this to you guys. I think a lot of us here like Adam Hill and are friends with Adam Hill. And I did not say Adam Hill, right? Because I know that you all have arrogant, smug, fucking editors, pompous ass editors who write your headlines for you sometimes, and some of the other bullshit that goes in there. And it just pissed me off that the day of the fight to read that in my own hometown newspaper. Fuck the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Fuck them. Dirty. I thought it was dirty. I thought it was a low blow. And listen, at the end of the day, people can write whatever they want. So can I. So can I.
Boom.
Dana.
Yep.
He was not happy, and good for him, because he's been one of the only organizations that has maintained all of his employees, to not, like he said, not fired a single person, and he's put on events wherever he could hold them. And then that's what he had to say about the Las Vegas Review-Journal, their freaking article about him.
Well,
So there you go.
That's precisely why they're probably attacking him, though, because if you think back to what took place all throughout last year with all the blue states and BS shutdowns and sporting events, this and that, and reducing capacity of all events and social distancing bullshit as well, they had to try and find places to put their venue. And so how many events did we see move down to Florida and Texas and other freer states compared to the blue states where perhaps some of these events were originally scheduled? So who got the tourism dollars at the end of the day versus, say, the blue states that enacted more arcane policies? And so he has every right, and I would agree with him. And I think at the end of the day, him, supporting Trump probably also earns him that sort of critique, I guess I should say, out of Las Vegas Review as well.
Well, listen, there is a reason why. And again, I'm not talking to you guys across the pond or what. I'm just talking for in America. I don't know how it is there. I mean, there's something similar could be going on, but there is a reason why people are loading up their U-Hauls and leaving New York and California right now. And guess where they're headed? They're not headed to Washington, D.C. They're not headed to New Jersey. They're not headed to Delaware, anywhere like that. No offense to any of you guys out there, but they're headed south. And so, there's a reason for that. You can say whatever you want to the Globe at the start. Trovo's probably hung up, Ray. That they're coming down here because we don't care what color, creed, whatever. We don't care down here. Just leave us the hell alone. Don't tell us what to do, and don't try and come for our constitutional rights. And you can do whatever you want to pretty much down here. We don't care. If you own a big slosh of land, you can go outside and shoot your firearms all day long, and your neighbors ain't going to call nobody because they're used to it. Your kids can play in the damn yard and be okay, because I'm here to tell you, I have 2 little kids that live right next door to me, and if some idiot, I know what their parents' cars look like. You pay attention to that stuff around here. I don't bother my neighbors. They don't bother me. But if some idiot come tearing down the damn neighborhood and try to snatch up them kids, trust me, everybody would be out their front door yelling at them. They're not my kids, but you don't mess with your neighbors. The people don't mess with neighbors' kids around here either. So it's just a different life here. I can say that because like I said, I spent a year in Detroit, and I might as well have moved to another planet. It was so foreign to me. People not being friendly. And I mean, down here, we're almost overly friendly. Like, you can't go into a store. I can't. Just to walk in and buy something and then leave. I'm usually there at least an extra 10 minutes just talking to people. Like, I know the lady at my local deli. She's the sweetest lady. I know the guys in the meat department. Like, I know my little dude down here at the gas station, and we'll talk and laugh about stuff or whatever. We're just friendly here. And I know ran into some guy that just must have moved here, because I was coming back from going to the store, and I was taking a left out of a road, and it was in this nice car. It was like a sports car. It was, looked brand new. And I'm sitting here watching him, and he pulls off on the we don't have shoulders here really. Okay. It's road and then grass. So he pulls off into the grass, and there's literally a parking lot right behind him. And if you turn down the road I'm on, there's a church parking lot right behind me that's empty. But he pulls off in the grass, and I'm kind of staring at this guy. And he gets out and he walks around to the passenger side of the car to look at his car. I don't know if he hit a rock or somebody flung. I don't know. And I just kind of looked over at him. I was like, "You all right?" You know, it's just, he looked back at me. He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then he kind of looked at me like I had three heads. So I was like, oh, well, that's just typical here. I don't care if you're guy, girl, whatever. Usually around here, somebody will stop and ask you within minutes if you're okay, if you're pulled over. But it was just funny because he looked at me like, yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe somebody's asking me if I'm okay. Because I guess in other parts, they just drive right on by you. I don't know.
Well, yeah. And as you mentioned, New York City, cities net they're leaving. Just in the last 24, 48 hours, there's been at least 3 articles depicting exactly that. One of which back on the 29th says New York City lost 1.2 billion in tax revenue as tourism plunged 73% during the pandemic. Well, from the school of no crap, when you got idiot socialist Marxists like de Blasio there, who locked everything down and implemented all these draconian policies, what the hell do you expect? You think the dollars are still going to flow in just because you put some policy in place? I mean, cripes, you had people sitting out in tables in the middle of winter just so they could have a place to have a bite to eat away from things because they weren't let into restaurants and had to actually socialize.
Yeah,
So
well,
they have a
and you're seeing the difference between the different parts again here in America, because I always qualify that because I know a lot of people, and Daddy's okay. He just had some company come over, but I always qualify that because I don't want to act like I'm speaking on something I don't know. But yes, here in America, it is like the states are there. If you look at it, I mean, yes, we have a federal government. We have a government that's supposed to provide infrastructure or military, stuff like that. But each of our individual states are like a little country within themselves. Like our governors and mayors can dictate what happens in those states, and it's different from state to state. So, like states down here where I live, like I've told y'all before, nothing closed. Okay, nothing closed through the whole thing. We've never had a mask mandate here. Trust me, I called to verify that the other day. But and you see this little town here that I'm in is like, I mean, it's the same old thing, different day. It really is. And then I hear stories from like you or other people that live in other parts of the country, and they're getting yelled at for not having a mask on. We don't do that shit down here. We don't yell at you down here. I have sit and had a conversation with an older woman that had a mask on, and we didn't look at each other like you discussed me, and she didn't look at me like I discussed her. We don't do that here.
well,
So I feel sorry for you guys that have had to deal with that stuff. I really, really do, because it's just unnecessary.
I think the level of indoctrination at this point has really sunk in because I'll just use yesterday as an example. I had to go get a bunch of plants net so that I can get stuff thrown in the dirt because it's that time of season. Get my hot pepper plants net in the ground here. But nonetheless, we head to the old greenhouse here. And of course, most of that stuff is fairly outdoors. And what do you see? I walk in, no mask. Cripes, you're outside. What the hell do you need a mask for? CDC and even Fauci says you probably don't need a mask if you're outside. And number one, I'm not going to bite it anyway. Didn't get kicked out, didn't get questioned. Yeah, the owner had one, but it was down around her chin. So what? But you look at everybody else that's perusing around there, and I kid you not, 95% of the folks there had masks on. It's like, why? What is wrong with you people? Is the level of indoctrination that great? You really are looking at a nation full of sheep who know no better. It's like they cannot, in my opinion, probably will not think for themselves.
Well, Go Dog says, here. I have a private shooting range right here. I probably lose it with some land. And then I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. Is it Gail MG? I think that's right. Southern Wisconsin, especially Milwaukee area, is nuts. People wearing masks alone in cars and alone walking outside. See, that's exactly what I mean. It's like whatever the temperament is in the town you live in is like people feel like they're obligated to do things they know don't make any sense. Okay, Gail, thank you. But that's what I feel bad for, is that people have to live in that crushing, like almost like a bully mentality. Like, you might not want to do something, but you feel like you'll be bullied if you don't walk the line. And again, down here, and I don't want a bunch of leftists moving down here. I don't. They're already popping up new subdivisions in the little town I'm in. I'm like, they just closed down and tore down our livestock barn down the road. And then they've just put all these houses with no yards. And I'm just like, oh my God. So But like anybody that has the same brain and wants to live free and be left the hell alone, then I understand why they're coming down here to this region, and not just Tennessee. I mean, like Georgia and Texas and Arizona, Louisiana for the most part, Alabama. Even Florida. We tease about Florida because Florida's considered southern, but they're kind of like a tourist, like their little tip that sticks off the end. But I mean, Florida at the end of the day is a southern state. I mean, and you can tell by DeSantis that they're standing up for their rights, and that's all we care about down here.
And I guess not to really belabor the point too much, but alluding to what you were speaking of earlier, the 10th Amendment is alive and well, folks. As much as they like to crap all over the Constitution at the end of the day, you're seeing the states doing exactly what they should be doing in times of federal government overreach. Take case in point here, just in recent days, and I talked about this on Thursday night show on Soapbox when I was talking about education, talking about critical race theory. Literally the very next day, come across an article that says Idaho and Oklahoma basically put the kibosh on CRT. Says nope, not in our states. And I suspect, and I think I've seen that DeSantis down in Florida is going to be pushing legislation much the same. Along those lines, we've talked about voter fraud. We've seen Georgia already put together their Georgia election integrity, which obviously stirred up the wokesters and social justice warriors to no end. You're seeing Florida and a number of other states enact voter integrity bills in their respective states as well. And again, these are the freer of the states at this point. Not only that, you're seeing from a monetary standpoint, if you followed my show at all, I covered this here a few weeks back now, talking about sound money, the number of states net that have removed taxes on buying bullion, for example. Why would you pay tax on something that's already money? There's 10, 12 states already of the 50 here that have already enacted the usage of gold and silver to settle debts, use it as legal tender. In conjunction with that, I mean, there's a whole host of other things. You're talking about the switcherooski they're trying to do with mixing transgenders in with women's sports. So there's a whole bevy of things, all these agendas coming to play that the federal government is trying to mandate. It's pure overreach. And the states are standing up and saying, nah, I don't think so. And I mean, even at a local level, we just saw this the other day in Arizona, where you had a school board net basically says, hey, we're not going to start the meeting. So guess what? They all got up and left. And the people that was there, they enacted a new board and kicked out the mask mandate. Says, see ya, you guys are done.
Yeah, if you don't know what he's talking about, I actually had pulled I think that video up for today, but what he's talking about, I'll try to pull up the stuff too Michelle sent me, but I have a couple of articles about that. Guys, I'm sorry if it's a little shoveled today because it could be I didn't really line up everything, but this is one of the articles I had pulled. The powerful teachers union influenced CDC on school reopenings email show. So they did a Freedom of Information Act basically, and the American Federation of Teachers lobbied the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and even suggested language for the federal agency's school reopening guidance released in February. So the teachers unions and the CDC are collaborating to even give the teachers unions the language the CDC is to use to try and implement even the what the schools unions are trying to do at these schools, just in reference to COVID. So if you think that's just on COVID, then I'm sorry, but I don't believe that for a minute. But I mean, it's sickening. It's sickening because all this stuff, there's no science based behind it. These are all this one woman's feelings and, how she feels about something, what she thinks needs to be done. But what he's talking about, that's basically, I just wanted to highlight that the CDC and the teachers unions were talking about this stuff. And I'm going to try and find what Breaking was talking about because I had it right here.
There's a long video and a short video, I think, over on Rumble, if I remember right. They recorded the whole thing, and I think it was down in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, here just a few days back. But that's exactly what needs to happen. I think the group they were associated with is called Face Freedom, maybe. Does that sound right? But we're gonna have to get coalitions, folks, in your respective towns, in your respective cities, in your respective states, and you're gonna need to gather up like-minded folks and go after these Marxists, because that's exactly what they are. At this point, let's call them exactly what they are. Call them commies. It used to be kind of taboo back in, I don't know, maybe 60s, 70s. You always used to watch TV shows, well, you're a commie, and it'd be like a point of embarrassment when you called these people out. Not anymore. No. They wear it like a proud badge, and we just need to call them out.
If you haven't seen it, this is what he's talking about. This is where these Vail School Board flees parents elect new board vote to end mask mandate. Hundreds of parents showed up to the Vail School Board meeting to demand the board make mask optional. The board didn't want to hear it, so they walked out of the meeting before it even began. So the parents, under Robert's Rules of Order, voted in a new school board. Then the new members voted to end the mask requirements in Vail schools. The old school board members revealed exactly who they are, and that includes Summitville. But here's some of that.
All right. So, agenda. New board members. How many do we need?
4.
Is there 4 or 5?
One cannot be recalled yet.
3.
Well, I hear they've all resigned. I
tell you what, I will freaking do whatever position you want me to do. Okay, I have to. I'll do it.
Anyone want to nominate someone for school board?
I nominate Bill Levick.
Okay. We have one right here. Everybody recognize?
Bill Levick. What's your name?
What's your name?
Bill Levick. Bill Levick has been nominated. Who seconds it?
I second it.
I think there's a second. Do we pass?
Anyone?
Yes.
Anyone
Say
opposed?
aye. Aye. Opposed.
Somebody get Kelly in.
Okay.
All right.
We have now, I nominate Kelly. Or no.
Somebody in district nominate her.
Somebody has to, you have to be in district.
You have to be in district. I can't. Are you a district?
Okay, that's about the gist of it. But they go around and they nominate. There's a guy behind the camera, and he seems to know what he's doing about kind of like what's going on, and how he kind of walks them through what to do. But I will say, I did find this, and I sent this to Breaking too. I'm going to give this out to you guys as well. But I don't know if you guys have seen. Do you remember where I got this Breaking? It was from an article, and an attorney, a father with the kids, had gotten a hold of what they're sending to these teachers that they need to start teaching to these kids, and it's shocking. Like, look at this. It experiences oppression, experiences privilege. Oh, so pink side oppressed, green side you're privileged. Women, men, children, adults, people of color, white, non-Christian, Christian, not any other religion, just Christian apparently, not Catholic, not Islamic, not any of that, just Christian. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, heterosexual. So you're immediately privileged if you're straight, apparently. Gender non-conforming, gender conforming, 50 years and older, and 25. Who makes these determinations? 25 to 50 is privileged. Anybody, apparently. So I guess it negates all this other list. If you're 25 to 50, immigrant versus U.S. born, working class versus like owning or middle or high income background, like disabled versus the able body, college educated versus not. By the way, Bill Gates, like Elon Musk, none of these people are college educated, just so you know, but they're I guess they're not privileged. Single parent or raised by a single parent. If you have two parents, that's your fault. Adopted or foster, not adopted or foster, which doesn't make any sense to me. English is a second language. English is a primary language. If you speak English, you're privileged. Do you see this? Overweight or average or thin. Darker complexion, lighter complexion. This is nuts. So anyway, Michelle had sent me this, the public school exit. It gives you a lot of information about how you get your steps to exit, finding a school. And I'm sorry, guys, this is again in America, so I do apologize. And then I also posted this the other day about the critical race theory. It's a really good way to update, tell you where they're trying to push it. I'm trying to get information on another site right now where they're kind of tracking it. But this again, and I'm so sorry for my Brits and stuff and anybody else from any other country, but there's a link to a site. If you know anybody with kids and you need it, it's the public school exit site, and there's a lot of information there. And shout out to Michelle who I always go to. She's if you know, I did that show with her. She's the president and CEO of the Child Protection League. If you've not seen a couple of those videos I've done with her, I suggest that you go check them out if you want information. She has a wealth of knowledge on this stuff, so you should check them out. But yeah, maybe that'll help you a little figure out.
It's along the lines of what I just got done covering on Thursday night's show too, for those that joined, talking about critical race theory and, of course, homeschooling. Article that I think that I covered out of Epoch Times from maybe back in March says there's been a strong uptick, and surprisingly, guess what, folks? They broke out the demographics and said blacks and Latinos were on the rise in terms of number of kids being homeschooled, and this meaning kids physically out of the system, not just dialing in through Zoom into their respective classrooms, because even that is proving to be very Marxist in nature. We've seen a number of cases over the last year plus of this shamdemic, with teachers not thinking they have authority to control what is in your background, things of that nature, and all sorts of shenanigans going on. They don't have control over you, folks. Don't let them have control over you. Don't give them that authority, period. Put them back in their place.
Yeah, and these exemptions, like what they're trying to do here, like this was another one I brought for today about the Connecticut bill being signed into law. A bill eliminating school vaccines, religious exemptions in Connecticut has been signed into law, eliminating school vaccine religious exemptions. So, like, what's in that Constitution about freedom of religion and separating, the government and your religion? And I mean, yeah, but they are overstepping their bounds so much. It's sickening. This is what I mean by people need to be sued. These people are not gods. They were elected by the people. That means they don't get to go in there and decide, oh, we get to just stomp all over the Constitution because we said so. That's what I mean. These people are going to have to be sued. We're going to have to come together. If we have got to come together and start a fund, and like I said, where we can go after like one certain, like this Connecticut thing would be great to say, okay, who needs our help? Who's the one rallying behind this? What religious group is saying not today? Because they're doing this stuff to kids is disgusting.
Well, it goes even further than that, because it's not only schools, it's the woke corporations. It's also going to be any institutions of, and I'll use air quotes behind the scenes, higher learning, meaning colleges and universities, which I'll just interject and say at this point, what value are these institutions after this last year? I see no value. Frankly, I wouldn't waste any money on any university at this point, especially with the garbage net that they preach. But bottom line, I saw this meme come through yesterday, perhaps more of an infographic, but is your employer mandating the COVID-19 vaccine? According to federal law, 21 U.S.C. section 360 B-3 E1A23, follow the subsections, it is illegal to require an emergency use authorized product. You have the right to refuse. Liberty First Legal is a nonprofit law firm that provides free legal assistance to those whose civil liberties are being threatened. And there you see the address. Go to https://libertyfirst.legal, fill out the contact form, receive a legal letter notifying your employer of your right to refuse. And I say that just as today, I see an article come through that a nurse was let go in the Houston Methodist, I think was the name of the hospital down there. Basically, she had put her 2 weeks in. They were supposed to give them so much time or whatever to beat a May 1st or May 3rd deadline or something to either get the jab or whatever. Apparently, she didn't even make the 2 weeks from the notice she put in because she wanted to do her research. She wanted to study the effects and wait for the actual trials that aren't even due to be done until 2023, by the way, to be done. And they escorted her out. Your security, show up at your desk, we'll move you on out. This is the ruthless nature of the corporations we have to deal with today. And frankly, let them. Everybody should be walking out of these institutions. Let them fall on the sword at the end of the day. Frankly, I'd be much happier to see, the old black bag doctors and nurses come back around, do home visits anyway, and piss on the damn hospitals.
Okay, this is from January, by the way. The DC Council passed a law to allow minors over age of 11 to consent to vaccines.
That's
The claimed
BS.
Democrats placed legislation to vaccinate children without parental knowledge or consent. On October 20th, the Council of District of Columbia voted 12-1 to approve a bill that will allow children age 11 or older to obtain vaccines with their parents without their parents' consent. And it's that this was the fact checkers. I think this is why I brought this up. And they tried to go. Basically the word salad that is played here, doctors will determine if their minor patients meet the standard for informed consent. So again, we have doctors, so it's not the parents. So to me, word salad or not, I know exactly how this works. All you have to do is find the right doctor. It's just like when these kids go to these transgender doctors, some of them make them go see counseling for a couple months. Then you can find ones that are the very same day you go see them is this is what they're saying, missing context because of the lawyer involvement in it. But it doesn't matter. They're still omitting the parents. So yeah, 11 or older. Yeah. By the way, you can have a doctor that make decisions for your kids, and they don't even have to tell you. That's the scare. They don't even have to tell you.
Well, it's the same BS argument they try to use with Planned Parenthood. And if you want to have an abortion, if you get pregnant at that age, not tell your parents. Same sort of argument that Nancy Pelosi wanted to get 16-year-olds to vote, but yet they can't smoke or drink or do anything else. It's the same sort of argument that leads to what happened in France and Turkey, where you got 9-year-olds able to marry. This is what they want. This is where it's all headed.
Well, I can't remember if Maria sent me this one or not. She might have. She did shout at her, but somebody sent me this. Or I found this on my Twitter feed. I can't remember, guys. I get sent so much stuff, but this is again ties into that kind of rant I went on a couple weeks ago about why we don't believe these people, because we have the attention span of a pissant. And it says remember that Pfizer paid out $2.3 billion to settle the largest healthcare fraud case in history. As millions of eligible Americans rush out to get vaccinated with Pfizer's new Wuhan coronavirus vaccine, it's important to remind everyone that back in 2009, this isn't 1922, this isn't 1947, this is 2009. They were forced to pay a whopping $2.3 billion settlement, what quickly became the largest healthcare fraud case in history. In order to resolve criminal civil liability charges stemming from its illegal promotion of various pharmaceutical drugs, Pfizer subsidiary Pharmacia and Upjohn Company agreed to fork over this large sum of cash, which despite its lofty amount was still less than the untold billions the company raked in from committing the now settled crimes. So they raked in billions and billions and only had to, I wonder what incentive they have. As part of the case, Pfizer pled guilty to misbranding an anti-inflammatory drug known as Bexstar for the intended purpose of defrauding and misleading customers. Pfizer illegally marketed Bexstar for uses and dosages that the Food and Drug Administration has specifically declined to approve due to safety concerns. Pfizer consequently paid a criminal fine of $1.195 billion, the largest criminal fine ever imposed. Pfizer was also forced to forfeit another $105 million, resulting in a total criminal resolution of $1.3 billion. Blah blah blah. But then they went on to push this into other countries when it was outlawed here. These people do not care about you. We all know this. I'm not talking to you guys out there that know this. I'm talking to these platforms that keep silencing doctors and keep removing people for having concerns. It is not like these people haven't massively lied to us before. Many times, not just once. Them a decade ago, and writing out settlements. Well, guess what? The damage has already been done. Why do you think people have the right to say, I don't want it? Why do you think people have the right to say, not going to believe you this time because, 10 years ago when you did all that other bullshit, you don't really have a great reputation. So I'm not going to believe you to have a good one now. The ball didn't just drop on top of fairyland and all of a sudden you liars just decided to tell us the truth one time. I don't work like that. Again, I told you, I'm not going to watch somebody walk down the road and kick my dog in the head, and then the next day ask him to come dog sit for me. The other morons out there in the world can go do that shit, but I'm not an idiot, and I don't think anybody out there that does not trust these people they're not idiots either. We have so much evidence of how many times these people have been more worried about their bottom line and the dollars flowing into their bank accounts than they care about the people they're hurting. over and over and over and over again.
So
And I
here,
think it's criminal that Americans have to pay for all the research. Americans have to pay the scientists. Americans pay the lab fees. When Americans pay for all that stuff to research all these drugs, why do we not own the patents? Why do we pay for everything and then somebody can step in after all the work is done and say that they own the patents and not the people that paid for it? That doesn't make any sense to me.
so as of April 6th, the inserts, I managed to acquire the inserts for the Pfizer BioNTech, the Moderna, as well as the Janssen, aka Johnson & Johnson jabs. You can find these on fda.gov. See whether or not you like the ingredients and whether or not those need to actually go inside your body. The Pfizer BioNTech ingredients. Each dose of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine also includes the following ingredients: lipids, 0.43 milligrams of hydroxybutyl azinylyl bishexane, dill bishexyl decanoate, 0.05 milligrams of polyethylene glycol. Then you get some ditetradecyl acetamide, 0.09 milligrams of distyriol, SN-glycero 3-phosphocholine, 0.2 milligrams of cholesterol, 0.01 milligrams potassium chloride, 0.01 milligrams monobasic potassium phosphate, 0.36 milligrams sodium chloride, 0.07 milligrams dibasic sodium phosphate dihydrate, and 6 milligrams sucrose. The diluent 0.9% sodium chloride injection contributes an additional 2.16 milligrams sodium chloride per dose. The Pfizer BioNTech, you get 2 of those jabs at 0.3 milliliters per. The single jabs, the Moderna ingredients, each dose of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine contains the following ingredients: a total lipid content of 1.93 milligrams SM-102 polyethylene glycol, aka PEG, 2000, dimyrostol glycerol, DMG, cholesterol, 1,2-distyriol SN-glycero 3-phosphocholine, DSPC for short, 0.3 milligrams of tromethamine, 1.18 milligrams of tromethamine
Nobody understands
hydrochloride.
anything you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, all these you can't pronounce, but the point being is this: if you can't pronounce these MFers, what the hell is it doing going in your body? The Johnson & Johnson ingredients, again, each of these doses, a 0.5 milliliter dose of Janssen COVID-19, formulated to contain 5 by 1010 virus particles, VP, and the following inactive ingredients: citric acid monohydrate, trisodium citrate dihydrate, ethanol, hydroxypropyl beta cyclodextrin, polysorbate, which is polysorbate 80 is one that is known carcinogen, if I'm not mistaken, sodium chloride. Each dose may also contain residual amounts of host cell proteins and or host cell DNA. The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine is a colorless to slightly yellow, clear to very opalescent sterile suspension of intramuscular injection. Contains no visible particulates. The vaccine consists of a replication incompetent recombinant adenovirus type 26 vector expressing the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 spike proteins in a stabilized conformation. And it would behoove you to get over to the old fda.gov, hunt these down. The Pfizer BioNTech one was updated April 6th. Let me finish, please. The Moderna one as of March 31st, and I believe the last one, the Johnson & Johnson, was just updated here on the 23rd. So again, carry those with you. Show them to folks and say, this is what you're putting in your body. Do you know what this stuff does? Be armed with the information. Carry on. All right. Well, aside from that, let me highlight something else here. Outside of the COVID business, obviously, there's been some stuff going on over in Arizona by way of the old audit. And I happened to catch this out of Praying Medic's feed yesterday. So let me play this guy here real quick. I think it's out of Gateway Pundit. See if we get an update out of Ken Bennett. Hopefully this plays.
Hey guys, this is Jordan with the Gateway Pundit here with Mr. Ken Bennett. How's it going?
It's going well, thank you.
Good. So I just have a few questions about the audit. How's it going so far?
It's going well. Overnight, we went from 20 counting locations on the floor to 46.
Awesome.
The subcontractor that's in charge of the hand count is working hard through some temp service agencies here in the state to get the additional people that would be required for that. So, but hopefully in the next day or two, they'll be ready to fully staff that. And then if we go to 3 shifts, which I think they're talking about, we will almost triple our throughput. So
nice, that's good to hear. So are you guys finding any ballots that you believe may be fraudulent?
No, we won't be announcing any of that until the end of the audit. So right now we're just counting the ballots, and they are looking, at a paper evaluation to see if, are there folds in the ballots that were returned by mail? Are the ovals filled in by a handwritten marking instrument as opposed to a Xerox machine that just marked a bunch of ballots? But all of the audit results and findings will be part of the final report. We're not going to do a little bit every day, because we might find some good things one day and bad things the next.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, why won't you release the totals on a daily basis? Wouldn't that be more informative to the public?
Yeah, but apparently the contractor, the Senate contract with Cyber Ninjas requires that there not be periodic releasing of findings, and so I think they feel strongly that everything's supposed to be in the final report so that everything is taken as a report as a whole. Now, could we figure out a way to release how many ballots we've done each day? That's not a finding, that's just kind of a progress report. We're working on that.
Okay, awesome. And so what can you say about the latest attempt to shut down this process by 3 national leftist groups who have petitioned the Biden Department of Justice?
All I've seen is the Brennan Center letter, but I think it was co-signed by some other groups, so if that's what you're referring to, what I read in their appeal or request of the Department of Justice was completely unfounded. All of the things that they say are at risk of happening, the ballots being damaged or lost or stolen or destroyed, is totally ridiculous. We have very strong security. I mean, the biggest complaint we get every day is people from the media or observers or somebody trying to get in the building that didn't get their name on the list and can't get in. So we have a very secure situation. The ballots are not at risk of being lost, stolen, or otherwise damaged. And so I'm trying to find time to send my own letter to the Department of Justice, completely refuting what they heard from the Brennan Center.
Mm-hmm. So also, I've been hearing a lot about UV lights. Can you tell us what those are for?
The UV lights were part of their paper evaluation process to look for watermarks on the ballot. And the county elections department assures us there aren't any watermarks on the ballot. So if there aren't any watermarks on the ballot, they won't find any watermarks on the ballot. But that was part of their procedures that they decided to use to evaluate the paper and the other things that I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so are you guys on track to have all the ballots counted by the deadline?
Well, there is no deadline. We knew when we took this facility over that on May 15th, the floor of the Coliseum needed to be available for about 5 days for 18 high schools in the Phoenix Union High School District so that they could have graduations over those 5 days. So we knew that the floor would not be available during that time, but there's other portions of the building that we could move the ballots into that are secure, and maybe we could even give people a break for 4 or 5 days, and then once the graduations are over, we could come right back in and pick back up where we left off. And they've told us that after those 5 days are over, we can have the building for as long as we need it.
All right. And then also I hear observers and counters, they're covering their license plates in fear of retaliation. Has there been any word on obstructionism by BLM or Antifa?
No, we haven't heard or confirmed any activities by those particular groups or anyone else, but unfortunately we've had the press and the media taking pictures of people's license plates and trying to get close up on their name badges and their faces, of course, and so it makes the workers and the observers a little bit nervous when the press is going to that length to try to identify somebody. They're afraid they're going to be doxxed or something like that. So we hope that doesn't happen, and we hope that everybody will be a little bit bigger than that.
Right, that's good. So and then finally, is it true that voting machines were removed from the Coliseum?
Yeah.
And can you comment on that?
Well, yes, more than a week ago on April 21st, we received about 6 truckloads of machines from Maricopa County that were used in the election. Today we returned 4 truckloads, and they were the big machines that were used to count most of the ballots in Maricopa County in what's called the central counting locations. There's a lot of the little machines that were used out at the polling or voting centers, but we returned more than half of the equipment that we had received from Maricopa County a little more than a week ago. The forensic company has captured the IT company has captured all the forensic information off of the machines. There was a little bit left on the machines that we kept for another day or two. We'll probably return those on Monday. And so, within 9 or 10 days, all of the forensic data has been captured off of those machines, and now they'll move into phase 2, which is analyzing that data.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, so thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.
Got it.
Well, there you have it, in the words of Ken Bennett. There we go, out of Arizona, and what's going on out there. Pretty elusive, I guess, kind of holding the cards tight as to whenabouts it may be finished. He did state that I think May 14th is when they have the facility rented until, and then they said they can turn around and come right back in if need be. So no real timeline as to whether or not that thing will be wrapped up by then. And I think we got a number of other states in that are chomping at the bit. I'm not sure if New Hampshire has already kicked off, or if they're planning to this next week, what have you. But yeah, all sorts of stuff going on there. And I think we saw another article out of Gateway Pundit here in the last week or so. It said that there's a domino effect. There's other states that are chomping at the bit to get their audits going as well. Now, the question in my mind is going to be, so what? What happens after? At the end of the day, what is going to happen? Because obviously we're kind of in an uncharted territory constitutionally, right? I'm not sure where we'll go from here, because obviously no court is going to give it any quarter. So it's going to be interesting to see what takes place after and the results are revealed.
Yeah. Blue Eyes says, I love breaking. I only watch to hear his sexy voice. So there you go.
Oh, geez.
Bill, I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that people had asked Bill Gates to his thoughts on lifting the patent on these vaccines to provide them to third world countries. Not shocking to most of us. Mr. I give all my money away, which he doesn't, by the way, said no. He said nope. He did an interview in Britain's Sky News this week. The billionaire philanthropist, extortionist, I should say, was asked if he thought it would be helpful to lift intellectual property protections on the vaccine. To many people's surprise, his answer was no. So again, he does not care about people. He cares about his bottom line. And then I'm thinking about doing something like this as well, because I had to look for an article. Like I said, I used to live like right outside of Memphis, and I was looking for an article there, which led me onto a bevy of them. I told you Memphis is like a little Chicago. It's pretty bad. But this lady right here, it says the mother is wanted on 63 counts of reckless endangerment in connection with the daycare shooting and issues in custody. This lady right here was asked by one of the employees at a daycare to pay her bill. Apparently, she hadn't been paying her bill. She got ticked off, walked outside the door. I guess was screaming at them. They were holding the door closed. And one of the employees was. She popped a round off through the door, and it was full of kids. There was like I don't know, 50 something kids. I guess maybe 60 kids because it's 63 counts. So that happens, but we don't hear about that in the mainstream news. I wonder why. It's another picture of her. But yeah. So she was finally taken into custody. But yeah, that happened in Memphis. I brought it up to find this one. 2 arrested after $2 million in drugs found in a van bound out of Memphis. They were stopped in Indiana. Had led to the arrest of 2 people accused of transporting $2 million worth of drugs that reportedly these I guarantee you these damn drugs did not come from Memphis. I guarantee you that they come from the southern border, which is open like a sieve right now. According to Indiana Police State Trooper, the Chrysler van on I-70, $2 million worth of them. Driver identified as Esther Segunda, 32 of California. Now you see the truth. They say they were bound out of Memphis, but the 2 drivers were out of California. So I wonder where these California people got these drugs. Again, there was 134 pounds of crystal meth and 90 pounds of fentanyl. Where does all that stuff come from? So I don't see the spin here. Originated out of Memphis is bullshit. They were being driven by 2 Californians, apparently looked like a Hispanic descent with Lopez and Escalante. And so I guarantee you these things came out of for the southern border. But that's what led me to that other story with that woman. And then this is something everybody might not know as well, but 76,000 California violent career felons are getting earlier releases. Did anybody know that? Saturday is increasing early release credits for 76,000 inmates, including violent and repeat felons, as it further trims the population of what was once the nation's largest state correctional system. This has nothing to do with people getting out because, they haven't, again, they should be let out back on the streets. It's pretty disgusting. More than 10,000 inmates convicted of a serious offense, but nonviolent offense under the state's 3 strikes law. 20,000 inmates are serving life sentences with the possibility of parole. So these 20,000 of them were supposed to be serving life sentences, and they're cutting them out. It doesn't even say how quickly they're getting off either. It doesn't say that they're supposed to be serving 30 years and they've only served 3 and they're cutting them loose either. Now, the same increased release time will apply to nearly 2,900 nonviolent third strikes. So if you 3 strikes, you're out kind of law. So that's happening in this guy's land. So I guess he's going to go out with a bang. They're going to recall him. He's going to let every violent criminal back out on the street so you can deal with it. This happened again, too. Photos Operation Blue Rain leads to child exploitation and narcotics arrest. Here's one of them. I wonder why we're not hearing about this in mainstream. He was arrested and charged with child exploitation for enticing a child. He made arrangements to meet a child for sexually explicit contact at a local DeSoto County, Mississippi. DeSoto County, Mississippi is at the very top of Mississippi. It's the very northern part. Here's another one. Arrested on allegations of child exploitation. Here's another one. Child exploitation, enticing a child. Yeah. So I don't understand why this wouldn't be mainstream. I don't understand what these 3 criminals have in common. Nobody's talking about it. But I'm telling you, Memphis is rough. And then, by the way, Canada paused the J&J rollout after a mistake in the Maryland lab. Apparently, it was cross-contaminated with the AstraZeneca vaccine. And so they've shut it down trying to figure out where the contamination's coming. But we should trust these people. We should trust them. There's nothing wrong. They're safe. They wouldn't do anything to hurt anybody. And then here's this one. Former Netflix executive convicted of fraud and orchestrating more than $500,000 in bribes and kickbacks. But no, these people ain't in the pocket of anybody else. That's X. Now he's an ex-Netflix IT chief. I think it said former. Okay. Wonder when okay. On Friday was convicted of 28 counts of fraud, money laundering, created a pay-to-play scheme, taking bribes and kickbacks from tech startups hoping to do business with Netflix. So again, this X thing was X after you found out he was trying to, he was taking kickbacks and bribes and all that other crap. So he was indicted in 2018, but also must forfeit Legato's home he purchased with the funds. He's not the only people taking a bunch of money and buying houses with. But see, these people are all wrapped up into this crap. There's so many deceitful people in all these different industries. It's disgusting. But yeah, there's a couple of those stories. I had a couple more from Memphis, but again, they're just highlighting the reason why nobody talks about this stuff. This suspect, 26-year-old Mr. Smith, was arrested and charged with reckless homicide. I don't know what could be the reason why we're not talking about this person's crime. I have no idea. But yeah, overnight, shot somebody, killed them. They don't talk about that stuff. Nope, can't talk about that stuff. That's so. And then there's this one, because you brought up the voter thing. I'll show you this. The Oregon lawmaker accused of unlocking the state capitol door for protesters faces misdemeanor charges. This Oregon state lawmaker accused of allowing protesters in the closed Capitol building while lawmakers were debating the COVID-19 restrictions is now facing 2 misdemeanors. He was a Republican. Mike Neerman was charged Friday with first-degree official misconduct. You don't think that there's rhinos? We all know this. The charging document obtained by Oregon Public Broadcasting accused Newman of unlawfully and knowingly performing an act which constituted an unauthorized exercise of his official duties. He basically went out and locked door, saw all these protesters, and just, oh, well, this door's open. Wonder how those people got in there. I don't know. There he is opening the door. Right there. Yep. I think this is a little video thing, maybe. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They don't need I'll get the picture. This is a storming of Capitol you may not have seen. Nobody talks about this, though. Nope. We're all talking about this, but nobody's talking about what went down in Oregon. Just so we're clear what's going on here. But yeah, and then I know all of you have seen this, but this is pretty bad. Texas governor calls on Democratic official to resign for calling Black Republican senator an Oreo. This man has been attacked more and more than you could ever imagine for giving that speech that was right when Biden came out with his. It was horrible. People on Twitter were calling him everything, every racial slur you could think of. But, apparently that's acceptable on the left, is when you attack a Black man and say racial things at him, because apparently it's acceptable when he's not on your team. But this guy called him a dang Oreo. And it says Gary O'Connor, chairman of the Lamar County Democratic Party, wrote in a Facebook post that Scott, the lone Black Republican in the Senate who delivered a scathing rebuttal on Wednesday following Biden's address to the nation, is little more than an Oreo with no real principles. The post has been deleted, you think? So, yeah, that's how the left reacts, by the way. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We can attack him because he's a Republican. But that's pretty much the gist of my stuff. I gave you the Fight for Schools thing and the CRT thing.
Good segue. Don't shoot the messenger, by the way. I'll let you read it.
What are you talking about? Oh, I can't see it.
The feds want the race war now, so they're accelerating things to kick it off. They pull in a screen grab of U.S. facing chicken shortage. That was talked about the other day on Zero Hedge. Also talked about the old menthol cigs, which I alluded that affects a certain group of the population, and my beliefs were confirmed when the ACLU brought very similar things to bear the next day. FDA could ban menthol cigs this week. And then out of New Jersey, we get a tractor trailer hauling watermelons crashes on the New Jersey Turnpike, killing 2. So insinuate what you will from that, obviously, but nonetheless, again, don't shoot the messenger.
That's me. That stuff is just dumb. I love watermelon. I love chicken. My mom used to smoke menthols. So I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't usually play into it because, I mean, I'm from the South. We all love watermelon.
Well, and one other point to that, you've heard me belabor the lumber issue. Obviously, price is up about 265% year over year. And obviously blaming this on COVID. However, I did come across a bit of a rogue article here. Don't have it immediately in front of me, but saw this in recent days. Somebody did a little bit of investigative journalism, imagine that, and happened upon a rail yard. And I think this was out on the East Coast, perhaps. There's only a couple, 2, 3 major lumber providers like Georgia Pacific and a couple others out west. Obviously, we do or did get a lot of lumber net out of Canada, but since the USMC has replaced NAFTA and everything else, it seems like there may be some tariffs coming in this way. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, this particular investigative reporter found about a 3/8 mile long yard of nothing but offloaded lumber sitting in a train yard. And he's questioning what the hell is going on here? Meaning this stuff has not made its way from rail to truck and truck to respective Lowe's or Home Depots or what have you, your local lumber yard in your respective areas. And so it begs a question. Is all this stuff being manufactured at this point, or is it because we have seen people like the Federal Reserve printing 180 billion a month, adding over 3 trillion and monies out of thin air since August of 2019, combination thereof, you name it. Could be a combination, but nonetheless, it seems like some of this could be a manufactured reduction in supply in order to drive up prices. And again, if you think back to the old Communist Manifesto, what is one way to whip the population into shape?
I don't know, but when you said that, it made me wonder if it wasn't on its way to Home Depot because of this right here. They're urging Georgia faith leaders urge boycott of Home Depot over voting law. When you said that literally was on my screen.
Yeah. Well, obviously, the way you control a populace is through food. And of course, we've seen all the commodities on the rise, whether it be lumber, whether it be steel, whether it be copper, you name it. The next thing that we're going to see is food prices go up. Article yesterday, it was leading on Zero Hedge, is sneaky tactics net that Costco is doing with paper towels. They're going to keep the price the same. You're just going to get 20 less sheets in there. So in the words of Elaine from old Seinfeld days, no, we can't spare a square. But nonetheless, that's the similar tactics they did back in 2008 when we had the financial crisis back then. Downsize the packages, keep the prices the same. Your OJ went from 64 ounces down to 59 ounces, and the price was the same, and people were none the wiser. Hopefully, we've caught on to that game. And again, is this a matter of them trying to control the supply in order to try and whip the populace into shape via the woke corporations? I don't know, but it sure looks that way. If it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, is it a duck?
I mean, again, we're seeing what's happening to people. There is a movement. We've talked about this for years now. A very well organized, very well funded movement to do whatever is necessary to get their agenda accomplished. And the unfortunate part is that they're using a lot of sheep that think that they have good intentions. They don't know that the underlying reasoning for doing all this is not some noble cause, just like Bill Gates saying, oh no, we don't need to give this patent out. That would ruin my wallet size. But, they're doing it in order to push an agenda, which is, giving the government more authority over our lives, trying to disarm Americans so we don't have a way to push back, and then taking over the schools in order to indoctrinate the children even more than they have, to make them all hate themselves and have the majority of the student body to feel like they're horrible little kids, and then the other half to feel like they're victims. I mean, it's just disgusting, but they're hitting every facet from education to, news sources. You've got social media silencing certain people. You've got these streaming platforms demonetizing and removing certain people. I mean, it's an orchestrated attack. That was my thing.
All right, what else we got?
I just kind of sped through mine pretty quickly. I have a lot of stuff about Justice Thomas pulled up. I did have a video I got into this thing right before we got on Twitter. There was this idiot talking about, how teachers unions were great. And, they did care and they just cared. And, and then I'm like, go back and watch Project Veritas's videos that they did a couple years back of teachers unions where they protect freaking pedos and people that hit kids and laugh about it. Oh, we won't report it. We won't tell on you. It's pretty freaking disgusting, quite honestly. But that was about the gist of all I had.
Well, let's take a quick spin around the old boards here, see what's going on that the Anons are digging on then. Poll just before showtime today. Moderna just made the Pfizer vaccine's biggest weakness an even bigger one. Not sure what's going on there, but definitely worthy of a dig on that. The gravy train already flowing to C_A managed Iran again. Yeah, and of course, I believe where this is headed is that the Vienna talks between the U.S. and Iran. Looks like that the old JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, may indeed be back on track. And of course, you got Bibi over there rearing his ugly head over there saying, well, if it's not to our liking, you can expect that there's going to be wars and everything else going on between Iran and Israel. So who knows? We'll keep an eye on that. China virus narrative, PSYOP moves to India. Yes, of course, if you're paying any attention whatsoever about what is playing out in India, it is absolutely absurd. Supposedly, this variant, quote unquote, running rampant throughout the countryside, literally got old ambulances dumping bodies out the back of ambulances in recent days, supposedly. Manufactured crisis of expatriates and that from Australia and the U.S. trying to get out of town as quickly as possible, can't catch the jets and that to get out fast enough, blah, blah, blah. What's the real story going on there? What is the real story? Think of what sort of business India has had with the Gavi, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation over the years with just about every single jab. Why are they trying to manufacture a crisis in Modi's country at this point? Are they trying to get Bill and Melinda Gates back in and subvert the will of the people? Are they trying to go against the Supreme Court and that, who basically says, no, Bill and Melinda Gates, pack your crap and get the heck out of our country? They know that jabs in the past and that for various vaxes that they have pushed have actually sterilized women. You be the judge. To me, it looks like a whole big conflagration in that's been manufactured. I don't believe one scintilla of a cent of it. Nonetheless, state TV says Iran reaches deals to release prisoners. All right. Britain will pay 400 million pounds sterling to hashtag Iran for the release of a British prisoner, according to Iranian TV. Texas special election too close to call. Not sure what all's going on down there. Maybe you guys can enlighten out in chat what that's related to. Tim Scott is the future of the Republican Party. Senate rhinos praised Scott's powerful, controlled opposition speech. Obviously, it must have been the rebuttal to Joe's hour and 6-minute bull honky from the other night. Operation Neptune Spear Night Stalker Anon dropped some decode clues in 2019. Old fags will remember Geronimo. No clue what that refers to. I must have been missing that one. U.S. State Department spokesperson Ned Price denies reports of a prisoner swap with Iran. So who knows what's going on in regards to that? Again, is that tied to the whole JCPOA, John Kerry 44 brokered deal that they pulled back when 44 was still at the helm? Who knows? More attacks, doxing on Q followers to intimidate, harass. Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised with that. Hundreds of reports of normal menstruation after being tear gassed during Portland protests. Oh, that's interesting. That's a new wrinkle in the thing. I'll have to keep tabs on that one, I suppose. U.S. may unfreeze 7 billion of C_A Iranian assets, the Lebanese network AI Mayadeen reported during anonymous sources in the Islamic Republic. Gee, 7 billion? That's it? I mean, we already sent billions of dollars in unmarked pallets, did we not, in a dark night? How many more billions do we need? In any case, our shill's still kvetching every time digs start on the Crazy Times Carnival? No idea. Bolshevik Revolution reveals 6 phases from freedom to communist misery. Yeah, we're pretty doggone far down that path. Biden cabal foreign ministry denies bankrolling C_A/Iran again. So apparently lots going on in that regard. I don't know if they're getting ready to wrap up those talks here at the beginning part of this week, but certainly pay attention to what's going on there. Cabal puppet Kissinger warns U.S. not to fight back against China. Oh, I guess we're just supposed to roll over and take it? Is that it? I guess Biden is bought. Is that what you're saying there, Kissinger? Just roll over, take it? President Trump, keep your eye on the Arizona audit. President Trump weighs in on the forensic audit in Maricopa County. Apparently there's a video with that. I think we pretty well covered that for Ken and his interview with Gateway Pundit. An apology to Carter Page, Jonathan Turley. Yeah, I'm assuming that's tied to FISA and the level of corruptness in the FBI institution that should be rightfully demolished and brought to its knees. Feds ID the wrong woman in Nancy Pelosi laptop search, but sees her phone and laptop anyway. Yeah, ineptitude. What do you expect when you have a failing institution like that one? Glenn Danzig, who founded the rock band Misfits, said his band and the punk explosion could never happen today because of cancel culture and woke BS. Yeah, that's probably true. And I mean, not only that, but think of all the comedians. Do you think somebody like Dave Chappelle would be able to survive in today's world? What about somebody like George Carlin? Not to go against the various bands and the grunge bands and that came up in the old 90s, like Nirvana and Alice in Chains and Misfits. I don't know. There's several British bands that were kind of along the same lines, right? I doubt they'd be able to survive in today's world. All these SJWs run around and probably throw a stinking fit. Solar storm on the sun. Yeah, I saw something in the previous bread that says that's unfounded, so I don't know on that one. Take it for what it's worth. Far left radicals push Joe Biden to replace Melania Trump's upgrades to the White House, Rose Garden. Whatever. More important things to worry about. Trump support propels Susan Wright to the top spot in Texas special election. Yeah, I'm not sure what all is going on there. Yeah, Danzig, I see. Joe Gilo says. Let's see. More narrative from fake news. Government collaboration to intimidate Oregon lawmaker who let far-right demonstrators into Capitol charged with criminal misconduct. Yep. All intimidation, folks. SpaceX splashdown. Yes, I see it. They brought a few astronauts down from the space station, if you can believe that. U.S. Election Integrity Group released another report. This one includes excellent recommendations for election reform, and we'll see if any states pick up and run with that, I suppose. Mike Pompeo, oh, praise the Lord all my life. I'll sing praise to my God as long as I live. Psalm 146:2. Perhaps some hidden messaging going on there. I don't know. We'll see. Elite ruling class in UK, members of the Bullingdon Club. Totally clueless as to what's going on there. Perhaps you guys across the pond know what's going on with that. Why that would be in focus now. Maybe it's just a dig they're on. I don't know. Governor Lamont signs bill that ends religious exemptions for school vaccinations in clear violation of both Connecticut and U.S. constitutions. But hey, who gives a crap about that crusty old piece of paper? We don't need that. We just do what we want. And yeah, they'll get sued to oblivion, hopefully. So that is a quick little spin around what the Anons are digging on this afternoon on the boards.
Okay, I'll show you 2 funny videos I found that are pretty. I don't even think I have to play the audio because I don't really think it has any. But this is hilarious. Okay, this is a real video. Tell me how that's possible.
I wish I had a banjo. Because it seems
Look
like
at that. You see this? Like how in that, like, got it so balanced perfectly over the front. All this crap's in the back. And yet how the roof of this poor little truck is not crushed in on itself, I have no idea. Look at this. That's really 2 men in a truck right there. You know that movie company said 2 men in a truck? That's 2 men in a truck. And there's this one. Someone whenever said that about Wisconsin today. This is said, meanwhile, in New York, dude has a daggum tank with a plant in it with the tube stuck to his face. I mean, this has got to be trolling. This man has got to be trolling. Like, I don't know. I find that completely freaking hilarious. Let me breathe in the plant. Yeah, that's going to work. So, yeah, those are funny. Those were funny. Found those. Especially this one. This one is just blows my mind. How in the hell do you know where stuff needs to go in order to keep that from, I don't know. Look at all this.
I hope that guy doesn't hit a speed bump when a motorcycle goes by, because that motorcyclist that just cruised by would probably get crushed by all that.
It's nice.
Clamp it.
But you can watch him stop and the whole thing shift. Like, this has not been photoshopped in. This is a real damn video. Because when he stops, you watch the whole daggum thing, like, what,
Yeah,
like right there.
What if you have to do a panic stop for a red light?
I don't know. I'm just wondering where the Clampets live today. Because that is some, I mean, that took, all jokes aside, that did take some skill. I mean, that took somebody like, listen, Fred, we're not getting the damn U-Haul. We can get it all on the truck. I mean, listen, Tom, you're crazy. We can't fit all this on the truck. And like, dude had a point to prove. It was like, no, we get everything on the truck. No, it's
it looks like the Darwin Awards are still alive and well.
And yeah, I have not listened to this yet. I need to listen to this, but somebody told me, I can't remember one of the things I watched. I watched several things. I mean, seriously, like you wouldn't believe the gamut of stuff that I can watch. Somebody told me to listen to this Michael Perinetti, The Conspiracy and Class Power. So I have this in reserve. Ironically enough, it was 1993 at Berkeley. But I'm going to listen to this. If it's good, then I think I'll come back and maybe share it, or you guys can look up it on your own. You'll see what I searched up here to find. And then, yeah, so that's one of the things I haven't, you said at the top, I haven't barely deleted anything. But that's in my arsenal of stuff I need to go check out. But I don't think Project Veritas, have you seen the one where they released the, about the AT&T CEO responded to questions about the exposed CNN?
I don't believe so.
I'll play it because we've been doing a pretty good job. I don't really, guys, I've not seen it. It could just be all text. It looks like a lot of it's text. I'll play this. It's only a minute long. Let's see what it says. But it says AT&T CEO responds to questions on exposed CNN video at the shareholders meeting. This is probably leaked after.
COVID, gangbusters were raided, right? Our focus was to get Trump out of office, right?
And when we acquired Time Warner, we made a commitment. And we made a commitment that CNN would have editorial independence from any other aspect of AT&T's business. And in turn, they were expected to stand up to rigorous journalistic standards for accurate, truthful reporting. And we continue to ensure that that's the case. CNN is actually at a time when all media is stressed the most respected brand in news today. And we're proud of that.
The most respected news. I mean, this is what tells you these people really must not come out of their bubble. They spend so much time time on their yachts and their mansions.
You lose your audio.
That they really like Viacom. It's all about controlling the narrative. They probably, a lot of those shareholders probably went in and bought a bunch of the shares, and these companies that are going to make these batteries for electric cars, they probably went into these companies that have or that are making solar panels or whatever else. And now, so the next directive is pushing climate change. It would not shock me in the slightest that if in the last 6 months to a year, a lot of these people went invested in these companies because they know by their own admission, and they're doing it now, that they're going to start pushing climate change. So who invests in those companies? You're listening to them. What I just played, not us. I wish, but I wish I could invested in freaking Apple 20 years ago. But no, couldn't do that. But yeah, so that doesn't shock me. Shock you? Nope. Nope. I think that's all I have, Rick.
Well, short show today. We're down a couple people, so call it a day.
There's nothing. I saw you showed the clip about what's going on in Arizona. Is that pretty much the gist of it?
As far as I know, like I said, Ken was pretty tight. Well, I shouldn't say tight-lipped, but playing his cards close based on when results will be released, when they anticipate being done, as well as any sort of a tax net, which we'd kind of heard via BLM, Antifa, potentially trying to start some garbage down there. I think now one of the reports out of Gateway Pundit here either yesterday or today, aside from this, says that there's some other groups that are going to try and challenge, aside from the Perkins Coy garbage and that just took place. They're going to try and derail this thing as much as possible. And the question is why? What are they so worried about? If their guy won fair and square, they should have nothing to worry about.
Holy crap. Okay, well, while you were talking, I'm just going to take y'all down a spin through my through what's on my thread right. This is nuts. I will show you. First thing I see as a video was this dog hilariously has dumped his entire pool out. His parents are like, Gigi, stop! Oh my God. Okay, so that's funny. But then the very next thing is never turn in your guns, a threat ahead. Riots in Colombia due to a tax reform that cripples the middle and lower classes. President gave the order to shoot unarmed citizens. It looks like fire. Okay, that's crazy. I didn't know that was going on in Colombia. See, this is why I wish we had more people from other parts of the world that came on here. Because we need it. We need people that remind us that what's going on with the rest of the world. Daddy does it over across the pond in the UK, but I don't know. That's nuts. And this one is the NYP. Oh, yeah, Andy put out something I meant to do. Is asking for help in identifying the black male who made anti-gay remarks to a man before punching him to the ground at the CVS in Pennsylvania Plaza. Oh, yeah, no, mainstream media ain't going to talk about this junk. They're not going to talk about this junk. Are they? Nope. Look. Look at him just like bowed up like he's going to swing at somebody. Nobody's talking about this stuff. That's crazy. Look at him. Just hit him. There it was at the very beginning. That is crazy. Nobody's fostering hate. Elon Musk should be more focused on Earth. NASA simulated an asteroid could engineer a solution to avoid impact. And wonder what's going on with space, too. That's another one. Oh, my God. Could you imagine? If you read up on that? I mean, it would be in your heart to like not want something to sit there and die. Oh, good Lord. Okay, I can't watch that. I don't really care for snakes. But yeah, she needs to go. The University of Minnesota student government member caught on tape. See what this says. I don't usually look at DJ media. Remember, caught on tape urging other members to make phony crime calls to police. See, this is what I'm talking about. America had to endure the defund the police, abolish police movements, and a point where if there's so much crap going on, then why do they got to make fake phone calls? A member of the University of Minnesota student government body was nailed on video urging her fellow student government members to make the lives of police officers hell by placing phony calls for help. She was asking them to fabricate crime hoaxes. You know, that's against the law, by the way. Oh my God. All right.
You say disrupt UMPD. What exactly do you mean by that?
Make their lives hell. Annoy the shit out of them.
Okay.
I'm saying, what are they over? Do we know? I don't know if Amy, you know, if Morgan, you mentioned stuff with UMPD. Like, use up their resources, make their officers show up to something.
Wow. Use their resources. These are the idiots that don't understand that taxpayers are who pays for their resources, you idiots. So anyway, I mean, see what I mean? Like, I deactivated this for a while, and I literally came back on it because I needed to follow this guy. Andy No is like the guy, if you're trying to keep up with Antifa, like exclusive BLM protesters confronted an Antifa, accusing him of giving drugs to an underage girl at the Portland riot on the 16th of April. That night, rioters caused widespread damage and fires in downtown Antifa have been dogged by allegations of giving rioters drugs. Have you seen some of the rioters? Have you watched them? I don't doubt it at all.
For everyone who's questioning the shit, she gave a POC, a baby girl not fucking niece, drugs. A 15-year-old girl, mine. A 15-year-old girl from mine. And then she went to the hospital. And I told her not to come back because this is not you better watch it. Get the fuck out. You're a poison to this game. Get the fuck out. Please. Because you're not the one. Fucking leave. Get out.
Now, see how they're turning on each other? See what happens? See, this is what they're turning on each other. Now they got
get out, bro. I'm not
standing there, but coming up for these BLM protests, and now BLM's telling them to get the hell out. Well, that's happened. But I love, again, if you. Oh my God, she is hilarious. Juanita Broderick said, got my first shot tonight. So when I read that, I was like, what? She said, I will get my second one as soon as I grab more salt and slice more lemons. That's hilarious. Mamar security forces opened fire on protesters, killing at least 8 people in some of the biggest demonstrations against military rule in days, 3 months after a coup plunged the country into chaos. See, another one, never turn in your firearms. Like, I did not know this was going on. I need to look more into this. Vehicular homicide. An illegal alien who was never deported despite a criminal record gets 5 years in prison for vehicular homicide. See, this is nuts. I mean, you can make a tour down there. I follow some pretty daggum good people and they retweeted. So, you know, I'm grateful to these people, by the way, that are still here. And yes, I do follow even cute stuff, because I have to keep that in mind. Don't worry, big tech will surely deplatform and censor and suppress and fact check Maxine Waters for spreading divisive disinformation. Surely big tech will spring into action and correct the record. That lady, again, as much as she said about Donald Trump, that lady right there, the stuff she has said, she should. I do understand how she's still in the position of power, but I mean, it's just disgusting. Oh, look. Yes. Yeah. See, it says, can we take a moment to appreciate progress and also how beautiful Caitlyn Jenner is? What a cool thing. Then she came out, everybody thought she was a Republican and was going to run for office. And this says, former Olympic gold medalist Caitlyn Jenner, biological boys should not be allowed to compete in girls' sports because it's not fair. And then this person comes out, we don't talk enough about the fact that Caitlyn Jenner killed someone in a car accident. See what they do? See? She's a hero. She's a homicide maniac. I mean, it's like nuts. They're so transparent. Paddled by principal as mother record. Disturbing video. I'm not going to watch that. General Flynn signing Declaration of Independence poster. Oh, we'll watch this.
There was 4 million people then.
Flynn, what do you think?
Well, this is awesome. I mean, this is what it's all about. This is the Declaration of the 13 states of the United States of America, the original colonies. There was 4 million people then. We have 320 million people in this country now with 50 states. This is still our Bible. This is still the way
This is our
live.
Bible.
This is going to be the way we're going to live.
And it should be in every school.
This should be up in every single school, and they ought to study this from the first grade on through until you get the doctorate degree.
It was in every school I went to.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This is a beautiful document.
Very nice. This is
July
from
4, 1776. Amazing. Hamilton, Madison.
Yes.
All the greats. John Locke, all the greats, right?
And we thank Bob Netlicki. He had this etched in Phoenix, Arizona, took one over to Turning Point, USA, and we have one in Mar-a-Lago.
He signed in Mar-a-Lago. There you go. When this ETH finally breaks. But I mean, again, well, Caitlyn Jenner could reshape the future Republican Party. They're coming after her, though, so it is not going to matter. I never met an immigrant who didn't have a cell phone capable of accessing social media and the president's speeches. This is what has conjured up the border crisis. Yeah, what's going on at the border? Again, that the media is conveniently ignoring. And seeing this is again, Austin is the next Portland. Austin today, unbelievable. This is Austin, Texas today. What? Are you kidding me? Communist March and They better get their crap together. I'm telling you, Austin is, I mean, it's getting rough. And it's like all these people that are $750 sign-up bonus, chicken stuff, good Lord. But you better get, I'm telling you right now, the left that move with their parents get it, and then they bring these teenagers with them to these redder states. So now they're marching like, oh, my parents left California. I don't know, because the weather was beautiful and there was no homeless issue, and no homeless people issue, and no drugs issue. They weren't taxing us to death. I'm gonna go out here to Austin in March that we do the exact same thing we did to California. But I don't know. So see, former Obama health advisor pushes QR vaccines. And that's not gonna make it. But I don't know. Anyway, so I thought I would tour this. We had a little extra time, but I do think it's important that we do keep in mind what's going on, like with Colombia. Did you have any idea what was going on with Colombia?
First I'd seen it.
I know, and you see, that's what worries me is I want to make sure that we keep up with the rest of the country and what's going on, because it's not just about like even America or the UK. There's other stuff going down in other parts of the country that the mainstream media is not covering. So again, if you know of anything, or you have a good outlet that covers some of this stuff, or like a newspaper, a certain one that you trust, like the Epoch Times is good. I like them, for different things. Same thing with these other countries, because it's hard for us over here to know who to trust, who's a good outlet, because we don't really know the journalist. But if you do, comment below and let us know of some, because we need some better sources for, like, say, what's going on with Colombia, etc. Like Hong Kong, nobody talks about what happened in Hong Kong anymore. China just went into Hong Kong and took over, and nobody says a damn thing. I don't get it. But yeah, that's about the gist of my stuff. That's all I got, kiddos.
Alrighty, well, thanks for joining everybody on this Sunday shortened edition roundtable. I guess we made it about almost all the way through, 3/4 of the way. Didn't hear you.
I said, yeah, 1 hour and a half.
Yeah,
we're close. And thanks. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think we got any more surprise Joe pop-up speeches to worry about here in the next few days. So unless something major pops up here, I'll probably be back on Wednesday, if not sooner.
Yeah, and thanks to, oh my God, the best name ever. I just swear it's hilarious. Wang Dang, I know that's Doodle.
Wang Dang Doodle.
Wang Dang Doodle, Captain Kirk, Ray as always, the mod that's everywhere. I couldn't do it without. He's always around.
Christopher's in the house.
Home. What is that? Remnantha Patriot. Remnan. I can't say.
I don't even see where you're at.
I drop it down to see who, like the top 10, and Remnant Patriot, Tweety, and it's in D Live. And if I said your name wrong, I'm sorry. Thanks, thanks to the guys coming in at the end. Look at them. God love you. Stefani, Besnani, when Steven, Nixon. What a name, Nixon. I was watching something about what Nixon the other day. I've got y'all. When I say I have a crap ton of stuff pulled up, I'm just going to show y'all what I mean. When I ask y'all to please tell me if y'all won't think certain things covered, even if this hurts me, I don't want to lose my thing, but I've got to. I'll show you. Hang on, let me see if I can do it in a way to. No, not really. I can't. I don't want to lose it. I've got so much information there. I'm just telling you, I've got stuff pulled all the way from BLM to documentaries to play to phone scammers to the right to life to positive videos to ghost stories to what's going on with the Depp and Amber Heard case to C-19, you know what that is, to the Biden swamp, to Save the Children, to DC coverage, fake woke, all kinds of stuff. I've got stuff in here about how to make bracelets, okay? Transports, culture, cancel culture mob, prepping stuff. Like, I've got rooms full of this information. I know there's a lot of people that cover a lot of different things. Oh, thanks, Go Dog Go, BJ, Wang Dang Doodle again. That's the best name ever. And Rich 132. But I have all that kind of stuff full. Like, and I'm open to kind of get into any of it, like I do on my rant days sometimes. You never know what people kind of need to hear or want to hear.
I think that should be the title of the show now. It's
What?
Rant Day.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it bothers me that things just fly by. 3 months, I don't know, say 3 months later from something that happened back in February, people just forget. And because the news cycle is so flipping nuts. And it's like when I did cover that stuff about the vaccines, it was important for me because there's a history of them lying to people. Deadly stampede at Israeli religious festival. Okay, hang on. Somebody posted something. Let me
Well,
this really quick.
while you're doing that, I'm gonna throw something out there.
Okay.
If you would be in favor of SoCo having a rant show about one particular topic, maybe once a week, put a 1 out in chat. I want to see if there'd be interest.
My rants are not like.
Yeah, but you get pretty fired up. You're passionate.
Yeah, but that's usually like it's organic. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like I see something happen and then I like start digging into it like a crazy person for a couple of days, and then I get pretty fired up about it. And so it's not like I can do it when I get upset. I mean, I'm a Southerner. We have redneck in us, but it is what it is. I got so much stuff though. Like, good Lord help us. I got so much crap. Okay. But I'm going to show this. I'm sorry I didn't catch it. Was it Tallulah, Talia, Tajia? I'm horrible with names. Through this in D Live, it says deadly stampede at Israeli religious festival followed years of warnings. As Israelis mourn, and I don't have New York Times, so I can't look. I won't be able to read maybe I can. Some of it. As Israelis mourn one of the nation's deadliest peacetime tragedies, they learned that officials had warned that the venue in Mount Meron, where 45 died, could not handle so many pilgrims. Wait a minute. The man underneath, already limp and lifeless, the men above him were thrashing and flailing. The men to his sides were screaming for help and struggling to breathe. And crushed in the middle of these limbs and torsos, his legs entrapped, his shoes and glasses lost in the melee, his body perpendicular. I don't know what this is about. Is this now? You know what this is about, breaking? It was indescribable disaster. 21-year electronic salesman. I thought I was looking death in the face. He survived. 45 others did not. Turning a night that began his pilgrimage for tens of thousands of ultra-Orthodox Jews and a joyous return to something approaching post-pandemic normality into one of the deadliest peacetime tragedies in Israeli history. At least 4 of the dead were Americans. Israeli Foreign Ministry said 2 were Canadian, according to Canadian Foreign Ministry. Friday night, the stampede had prompted a surge of soul-searching about religious secular tensions and resistance to state authority displayed by some ultra-Orthodox Israelis, and above all, questions of blame, responsibility, and negligence. For more than a decade, there have been concerns and warnings that religious site on Mount Meron in a northern Israeli was not equipped to handle tens of thousands of pilgrims who flock there each year to commemorate the death of a revered second-century rabbi. I don't know why that's all darkened out. That's weird. It's all grayed out. Side of the stampede, and there's a line. This is awful. I maybe need to see. I can't read this whole thing. I can't read voices called out from the Melee 30. I don't want to read this while I'm on air, but this is long. I will look into this. Friday afternoon, families were rushed to bury their dead before the start of the Sabbath at sundown. The victims included 2 pairs of brothers, the youngest whom was 9. 13 bodies remain identified when the process was halted for the start of the Sabbath. Condolences poured in from leaders around the world, including from President Biden, Putin, Abdullah of Jordan, Abbas of the Palestinian Authority. So I guess something happened there and there was a big stampede and people got killed.
Yeah, seeing a couple of people in chat say Kabbalah based off the false start god called Kabbalactes, and they celebrated Shimon Bar Yoshi anniversary of his death every year. Yeah, I saw a similar article out of a different outlet, but yeah, some saying they don't necessarily believe the whole story to be true. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the hard thing about like popping something on that's really long like this when you don't know about it. That's why it's easier when you can read it when you're off air. And then what I do is I read something like this when I'm offline, and then I try to pull the important stuff out, at least get a kind of feel about what it's about. Because from just trying to skim over this, it seems like what she's saying is that this was an event that takes place every year, and there was a stampede, and people were injured and killed in it. And see, it says by Friday night, the stampede had prompted a surge of soul searching about religious secular. So it was, I guess the stampede happened. They were trying to put this on. Deadliest peacetime tragedies. They learned that officials had warned it. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's in it. I mean, that's what I think we need to have a time when we can like do an hour or something and just, spend, even if it's 5 or 6 minutes on around the world of what's happened here, what's happened there, what's going on there, because it's not just all about America and the UK. It's not.
No, there's stuff going on in France talking about a civil war. I don't know if you saw here in recent days that apparently a former military leader, retired pensioner or whatever, and a group of, what was it, like 50, 60 others signed on to this letter. And I don't know if it got leaked or what the heck the situation was exactly. Basically stating that Macron needed to go. They've allowed way too many Muslims into the country, and it's to the point where I think they're kind of on a little bit of a civil war watch, frankly. Tensions are definitely heating up in France.
Well, I will say, okay, again, this is off the cuff, so I apologize. I'd like to be more prepared. I do, but as he was talking, I pulled something up about it, and this is what I pulled up quickly. Ex-officer behind coup letter warns of civil war in France. The former French officer behind a letter signed by thousands of retired soldiers denouncing the Macron government has warned of the threat of civil war in its movement if his movement is ignored. Jean-Pierre Fabre Bernadac, sorry if I said that wrong, guys, 70, has revealed that he plans to create a powerful organization to drive home the message that France is facing disintegration as a result of Islamic ethnic hordes and political correctness. Say I have to buy it, but okay. So he told the Times about 20,000 retired soldiers, including 40 or so generals, had signed the letter. And he said he now wanted to structure the movement to create nationwide camaraderie. So that was that one. I quickly grabbed this. Explain the outrage in France over a letter by former generals warning. There are about 1,000 service personnel in France, including some 25 retired generals, warned Macron that the countries had kind of the same thing. What the controversial letter says, the signatories warned Macron, his government, legislators of severely deadly dangers that threaten France, such as Islamism and the Villeneuve hordes, referring to the poor suburbs around Paris that are home to large immigrant communities from former French colonies. The hour is grave, France is in peril, the letter says, and blames fanatic partisans and a certain anti-racism for dividing communities. It speaks of an attempt to start a racial war by tearing down statues of French colonial figures and attacking aspects of French history. The lead signatory of the letter is the Christian Piquemal. Again, UK guys, I'm sorry, this is not my language. A former commander who was arrested in 2016 for taking part in anti-migrant protests. The letter also criticizes the government crackdown on the Yellow Vest protests and accuses it of using the police as a proxy agent and scapegoats. It ends by saying it's no longer the time to procrastinate. Otherwise, tomorrow civil war will put an end to this growing chaos and deaths for which you will be responsible with numbers in the thousands. How the government react? Have condemned the message with the ministry in charge of the armed forces. Florence Parley tweeted, 2 immutable principles guide the actions of members of the military with regard to politics, neutrality, and loyalty. Parley has also warned that any of the signatories who might still be serving the military would be punished under a law dictating that military personnel have to be politically neutral. Well, they're not politically neutral, so that's a laughing stock with the world. So, yeah, okay, we need to keep an eye on this stuff. See, this is what I mean. And again, guys, I'm sorry that, more than half of French people support generals warning to France and disintegrating. Oh, yeah. This is what I mean by, posting to us about if you know of a good source, or I don't even care if it's one of you guys that live there, that want to come on every once in a while and talk about what's going on in your countries. I'm all about that kind of stuff. I would love to have more people from different walks of life on this channel, because I think it's important. Because again, it's not just about America and the UK. It's about so much more than that. It's about all of us. And I'm not an expert over there. I don't know. I'll pull this one up really quick. I don't know what what's going on, guys, over there. It's hard to keep up with everything going on here and then trying to keep up with stuff going on there. But I will send this out again. I'll just do it the cheap old organic, the non-fussy way. But this again is our email. I'll look at them. I just shared a story from a lady the other day that sent me a story about when she went to the doctor, and that's the email. Again, if you're from another country, okay, or you focus the news of another country, and you have the ability to keep up with it and want to talk about it, email me there and let me know who you are and what country you're from, or what what you like to cover, whatever, and I'll give you time to come on here and talk about it. I will. That's what this place was built for. It wasn't just to be all about America and, even just the UK. And no offense to people in the UK, I'm sure they understand as well. But it's important that we know all this stuff, because they sure ain't going to tell us on freaking mainstream media. Hello, Zelda Robinson. She says hello to me and you, and God bless everyone. And with that, hopefully I left that up there for long enough for you guys to remember it. It's pretty simple. Hopefully. And that's all I have. I don't mind. If I was alone, I wouldn't feel so uncomfortable trying to tour down Twitter or Gab or something like that. But I don't like to be alone on here. I don't know what it is. I'm always scared my dog's going to want something, or my dad's going to burst in. And so, he lives 40 feet in front of me. So it happens all the time. He just did it while we were on air. And I'm just ugh. But, yeah, so please, let me know. Let me know what y'all wanted to hear, talk about, whatever. But I don't mind spinning through Twitter. I get some really good people that post on there. Oh my God. See, that thing started playing. But yeah, so try to follow good people, all that other stuff. I'll put out Ray does it all the time, puts out Twitter or how to get in touch with us, stuff like that. So yeah. Just let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. I would. But then I'm going to shut up now. Got anything else?
Nope. I'm pretty well spent.
All right, everybody. Well, we're leaving. Sorry, it was kind of like blah day, but it's one better than one of them days. And I'll try to again tell us what you want us to go or tell me. I probably have something pulled on it. Wouldn't lie. But and we'll try to do it. And with that, we'll see you later. Peace out. You never know when we're coming back on. So if you follow, do subscribe, all that other stuff. You never know because we don't really have much of a set schedule except for Wednesdays and Sundays. And with that, Breaking, you can say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday.